Hi everyone, my name's Dawn. I am an engagement officer here at the University of Hull and I work in the Schools and Colleges engagement team. And I'm going to be talking to you for the next few minutes about personal statements. Now, before we get started, I wanted to let you know about our brand new Applying Hub, which is on the website. So if you'd like to follow the link on the screen here, or you can scan the QR code and you can go and explore all of the new resources we've got around the UCAS application process, applying to university and personal statements. We also have a live chat as well that runs throughout the week where you can chat to anyone in our team about your personal statement, or if you're a parent or carer and have any questions, you can send us any questions on there as well. And we'll try to help you the best we can. So let's get started with our presentation today. It will only be a few minutes, but hopefully you'll find it very useful. So personal statements. First of all, a little bit of context about the personal statement. So it is actually the written part of your UCAS application form. And before the personal statement, the UCAS application is basically just some information about yourself and the predicted grades that you have from your teachers. And without the personal statement, there's not much else to the application form, but your personal statement really adds a lot of personality and information to the form. It is worth knowing that there are some limitations with the personal statement. So it is limited to 4,000 characters or 47 lines. And that does include things like punctuation, spaces, and line breaks. Now, it's also important to know that the UCAS software doesn't have a spelling or grammar checker built into it. So we'd recommend that you write it in something like a Word document where you can check the character count and the line count as you go through, and also your spelling and grammar, because spelling and grammar is a really easy thing to get right that makes a really good first impression. And then our other top tip for today as well is proofreading. Now, I cannot stress this enough. It's really important to proofread your personal statement and try and get other people to read it as well, because they might spot things that you've just not seen or noticed in your statement. Okay, so let's get into this in a little bit more detail. So what is a personal statement? So we know it's the written part of your application, but it's something that really showcases yourself, your skills, your suitability to a course, and any reasons that you might have for wanting to go to university. Now, it can make a huge difference having a good personal statement accompanying your application form. And remember, your UCAS application goes off to all the universities that you apply to, and this personal statement is the same one that goes out to all of them as well. So it's really worth investing the time and energy into getting your personal statement really refined and well written, because it can pay off huge dividends in the future when you get application acceptances from universities and things like that. Okay, so what do we look for in a personal statement? Now, we want to know why you want to study a particular course. We want to know what makes you suitable for studying that course, and also how you will contribute to the university whilst you're studying there. And, you know, anything else that might make you a particularly interesting or unique individual. Now, I know that might sound quite scary, but really it's just kind of, think of it as like a drawing. Okay, so your application form is like the pencil outline, and your personal statement is helping to add more detail and colour to that painting or drawing. Okay, so that's how I like to think of it. You're adding colour and detail in using your personal statement. In terms of what admissions tutors look for as well, we've also spoken to one of our biomedical science admissions tutors, and he's really stated here, as you can see on the screen, it's really important to highlight those transferable skills that you might have gained during your time at school and college, or if you're in the workplace, and how that is actually helping you to go to university, and how those skills will help you at university as well. Now, we do have a suggested structure because it can be quite confusing to kind of get a structure in mind and know how to structure things. So we put together this really basic outline. First of all, we'd advise that you have an opening paragraph. Just like any good piece of writing, we'd really look for an introduction. This can just be a few sentences. It doesn't have to be in a lot of detail, but it's really just setting the scene for your personal statement, giving a really brief overview, and then leading in really nicely into those main paragraphs. Now, those main paragraphs predominantly look at what you're currently studying, what you've kind of gained from that, what you're enjoying about that, any extracurricular activities that you're involved with, and any relevant skills you've gained from those experiences. And then, again, just like any other piece of writing, we'd look for a conclusion. This can be a couple of sentences just at the end to really tie off your personal statement and leave a really good impression with the admissions tutor. So for that opening paragraph, it's important to go straight in. Try not to spend too much time trying to think of like a funny or a clever kind of opening to your personal statement. It's important to get straight to the point, okay? Remember, you are limited as to how much you can write. So it's important that your opening paragraph is really concise. You can also state the course or the subject area that you're looking to apply to as well, because that then tells the admissions tutor, right, this person's applying for this course, this is really clear. It's just a really good way to start things off. And then to give a brief explanation about why you want to study that particular course. Now, that could be that you have a particular career in mind, or it might just be that you've always enjoyed a particular subject and you want to take that study further, okay? It doesn't have to go into a lot of detail. Where the detail does come in is the main paragraphs. So in the main paragraphs, within the structure we mentioned earlier, we want to know things about knowledge and experience you have of a subject area or several areas that you're maybe applying to university to study. It might be that you're currently studying them, or it might be that you've always had an interest in something outside of your studies. And we want to know sort of why that is and what you've gained from studying a particular subject if you're in that situation at the moment. It's important as well to include any achievements you might have. Now, these don't have to be, specialist accredited achievements. It could just be something very personal to you that you've been really proud of achieving, or any positions of responsibility that you might have held. On top of that, it's important to mention things like hobbies, interests, extracurricular activities, social activities that you might have been a part of, or anything else that you think is worthwhile us knowing. As I said, if you imagine it as a drawing, you're adding that colour and detail to your personal statement. So any of those fine details you can mention will only benefit you in the future. Throughout all of this as well, it's important to highlight the key skills that you've gained from these experiences and really build that into your statement as to why these experiences and this knowledge and these things you've been a part of, how is that going to help you at university? Now, in terms of structuring that, it can seem a little bit overwhelming and there's a lot of stuff that you kind of have to get into your personal statement. So we've come up with the ABC method that might help you to kind of structure the paragraphs within the main paragraph section of your personal statement. So the ABC method identifies an activity that you've been a part of. Now, that could be studying a particular subject, or it might be something extracurricular that you've been a part of. You're identifying the benefit of that experience. So, have you gained key skills in a subject lesson, or have you gained transferable skills from an extracurricular activity? And then you're connecting all of that back to the course. So why are those skills going to help you in the future if you've gained them now? And how is that going to relate to the course? So it's really about just linking everything together. Now, this might be a little bit tricky to start with, but the more you practice it, the easier it will come. As I mentioned before, the conclusion should always have a really nice lasting impression for the admissions tutor to kind of walk away with. So it's important to have a strong finish. Now, this can be you showing particular confidence in your ability to go to university and achieve what you want to achieve. You can reiterate those career goals in mind if you have them. We're not going to chase you down in like 5 years' time and ask you, what are you doing now? You said you were going to be doing this on your personal statement. That's absolutely not the case. We just want to see sort of what vision you have for yourself in the future. If you're not quite sure at the moment, that's fine. There's ways of building that in without specifically saying, I want to be doing this in the future. And you can phrase it in different ways. But here's quite a nice example on the screen of how to do that. Okay. So moving on from that, just a really good piece of advice is really simple things to get right, things like spelling and grammar, punctuation. Now, as I mentioned, if you write your personal statement in a word processing document or something similar, it will check these things for you as you go through. And it's just a really simple way to get the simple things right and it come across really well. And on the next slide here, we've got an example of somebody who clearly didn't do proofreading or didn't necessarily check their personal statement before they submitted it. And this is a genuine personal statement, okay? As you can see, there's some quite sort of obvious errors where people have spelt things incorrectly. They've got some punctuation that's sort of in the wrong place. I don't think it should really be there. They've misspelt simple words, simple things in their personal statement as well. And they've not capitalised the name of the subject group or even the BSc honours degree. Capitalisation and things like that are really important when you're applying to university, and especially when you're applying for science-based courses as well. So again, the importance of proofreading, really, really important. It's a simple thing to get right, makes a good impression. On this screen here, we've just got some brief do's and don'ts, hopefully that will help you with your personal statement as you go through it. So I think we've covered most of these anyway, but the important thing is to at least get your ideas down, okay? Colleges will have different deadlines for when their personal statements are due, but it's important that you get your ideas down, you write drafts, you redraft, you proofread them, you check your spelling and grammar and punctuation and things like that. Try not to be funny or controversial in your personal statement. Humour can come across very differently depending on who's reading it. So try to avoid being funny or controversial, but obviously it's important that you still let your character and enthusiasm shine through. It's also worth knowing as well that there might be companies out there that you see adverts for that might be offering to sort of write your personal statement for you, and I would just recommend against that. Companies that do that generally use the same information for every statement that they write, and if UCAS find that your personal statement has been plagiarised, it could jeopardise your application. So just stay away from that. By all means, you can get people to help you write your personal statement or help you plan your personal statement, but at the end of the day, it does have to come from you. Okay, and there's some other top tips on the screen as well that you can read through in your own time. For now, that's it from me, but if you do need any help, we do have the live chat system running and you can speak to us on there, and there's obviously the applications hub as well. But for now, that's it from me, and I wish you the best of luck in the future.